What's up guys, Noah from TemplateFC here, and today I'm going to be showing you how to create something with our modern piping mockup templates. I'm going to be using this standard front view, but we also have a few different options. So if you go to our website TemplateFC.com, go to the shop, you can see we have these three new modern piping mockup templates. We have the one that I'll be using today, and each of these you get 6 standard views, so 3 front views, 3 back views. And you can select the ones you want. So if you just want the front, you can deselect all these and get that, or you can click and change that to one of the other views and just get one of those. Same goes for the hanger mockups. There's also 2 extras on here that are just variations of the right and left template that are a little more creative, I guess, in the way that they're set up. And then finally we have the full kit options. So all these are the same shirt style, just whichever one works for you is the one that you can select. I will also be using the free Photoshop displacement maps file, which is called TemplateFC, and it's a free download if you want to tag it on to whatever you purchase from our store and use it to follow along with this tutorial. I'm not going to be creating anything too crazy. We're just going to be creating a cool little Juventus kit. But say you go ahead and download one of these, you want to right click, open in Photoshop, whichever file you're working with, and you'll get something like this. So I like to work without the avatar selected or visible. So I'm going to hide the avatar, hide shadow option 1, and I like to check shadow option 2 because it feels a little more realistic to me then, gives it a little bit of depth. And let's go ahead, open the designs folder, and let's open up the body. Now I'm gonna hide the guide real quick with Command H, and let's go back to our browser and grab the logo we're using, which in this case is Juventus. So I'm just gonna click and drag and add that and put it in place of the TemplateFC logo. Okay, and I'm gonna press Command U on that. And all I'm going to do is set the lightness to -100 because there was a white edge going around it, and that makes sure that it's black. Click OK. I'm going to go to the TemplateFC logo layer, right click, copy layer style, and paste it to the Juventus logo. And I'm just going to call the Juventus logo J, so I know what that is. And I'll hide the TemplateFC logo. I will also hide all of this stuff, or delete all that stuff below. And let's go ahead and make our background color white, because we'll go white with black stripes, I think. And I'm going to make the TemplateFC logo black with no stroke. And you could come in and add the Adidas logo here, or whatever brand logo you're kind of creating a concept kit for. So we're gonna go ahead and come back to our, oh, by the way, if you are adding a logo that has colors, obviously Juventus is black and white, so pretty easy to select their colors. But if they have colors in the badge, this is where you'd want to select them. So like you go to your color picker and come and select the color, and you might want to add to swatches, which will add it over to your libraries. So if I just walk you through this real quick, add to swatches is black. I would call this Juventus black. Click OK. Come back to the color, click OK, and this will come up somewhere. I have groups obviously, but in this not grouped, you can see I have the Juventus, and you just want to do this for all your colors. If you don't have your libraries, you want to go to Window, Libraries, and then you can kind of drag the tab around and put them wherever you want on your Photoshop. But let's go to the main document again. And actually, let's save the body so we kind of can see what we're working with. And there we go. Let's minimize the designs folder, open up the colors, and I'm actually going to hide the designs folder real fast, and we're going to just set up the colors. And the way I like to do this is I deselect everything, and I'm going to go ahead and make this white by clicking a library color, which is nice and easy. The back is going to be white also. Sides bottom, sides top. I don't know which one I want to be black. I think maybe the sides top. So we'll just go with that for now. Cuffs can be black. Maybe inside sleeves will also be black. Back top, to be determined. We'll keep that like that. Collar will be black. And then the piping, we could make black, but we're going to be having black and white stripes. And I feel like the black piping will blend into it a little bit. So I want a third color. So I have a bunch of colors off to the side here. So let me just try one of these yellows. Okay, I think I like this one or this one. I think we're going to go with this one. So a nice little yellow trim on this guy. All right, now I'm happy with those color setups. Let's go back to the designs folder, open that up. If you use striping on the shoulder, we can go ahead and make this, I'm actually going to flip this and make this black. And then the collar accent, let's make that black, which is just this little design here. Inside, let's open this up. I'm going to press Command I and just save. You guys can add whatever you'd want here to the tag. I obviously like repping TemplateFC, but you can come in, add your brand, add Adidas, add whatever brand you want in place of the TemplateFC text. And there we go. I'm not sure if we'll do a collar or cuff design, but since the collar and cuffs are white and black right now, I think I'm going to leave them because they kind of fit our color scheme at the moment. So they could look somewhat decent. And then we're just working with the sleeves and the body. So the body's already open. Let's open the sleeves. And I don't think we're gonna, actually, let's open up the sides slash back, because maybe we'll add the same design there that we put on the front. Okay, now let's go ahead and create some cool striping. So I'm gonna go to the shape tools and just get a rectangle, and let's create some striping. Now I don't have an idea of what I'm doing, so this will be me winging it pretty much. I do know I want to have the logos kind of in white space, so we're gonna have to figure out how to get the black around the logos and keep the spacing good. So like that is kind of the spacing I want, but obviously the middle isn't great. So actually let's just go ahead and evenly distribute these real fast, see what that looks like. Okay, and this is something I like to do every now and then. I'm gonna group these logos, call them logos, duplicate them with Command J, go to the duplicated one, hide the original, and select them both while holding Shift, press Command A, and then with the move tool selected, come up and align center. Press Command D to deselect. Take the J, or take the logo, and let's move that down. And now we have some centered logos. Let's see what that looks like. Nice. I can actually space these out a little bit more. And how does the striping look? I actually like the striping. Okay, so that's a pretty good setup, and that's an easy way to make sure we have this in white space. We could have adjusted them and had them on either side of the chest, but this is a nice little compromise, I think. Okay, let's go ahead and we'll close that folder. I'm going to select all the stripes, press Command G, press Command J, press Command E, and then hide that folder. So now these are just on one layer. And I'm going to duplicate them one more time and hide the original. And let's go to Filter, Distort, Displace. And this is where Displace FC comes in. We can also use, actually cancel, if we go to the actions, there's also a folder for Displace FC, which I guess it makes more sense to use since that's part of the download. So we can go to that. All you have to do is drag and drop to install this action in Photoshop, I believe. If not, you can search up how to install an action in Photoshop. It's pretty simple. You just kind of have to add this Displace FC to a folder. Let's select Displace Normal and click Play, and that'll do the same thing as going to Displace. It's a little quicker. Click OK, And let me find the folder for this. There it is. So TemplateFC, go to maps, and you can see we have a bunch of displacement maps. And if you aren't familiar with displacement maps, they're really cool. I use them a lot in my personal designs. Let's go ahead and find one. This is pretty cool. So this is like some aluminum foil. Let's click open, and you can see we get a sweet texture on the striping. That's really awesome. I'm gonna press Command T, hold Shift and Alt, and just drag it up and down a little bit so there's no white space at the top and bottom. And I'm gonna duplicate that layer again, and hide the one below it. I always do this in stages in case I mess up and want to go back. And let's go ahead and add some, we could do another displace, or we could add some texturing. I think I'm gonna actually duplicate this layer, press Command U, and we're gonna come to the lightness and bump it ever so slightly up, so maybe 8. And I don't know if you guys will be able to see this, but you can kind of tell there's 2 different tones. Actually, I will kind of exaggerate it just for this. Okay, so that's plus 12, so this is basically plus 21 on the lightness. Let's go back and put it in the same place, and now let's go and do some things. So we could do another displace. Let's try wave to normal and liquefy to normal. Okay, cool. And then I'm gonna press Alt and click at the bottom of this layer to make it a clipping mask. And then let's try wave to heavy. Nice. And then finally, let's cap it off with a displace heavy. Click OK. And I think one of the bubble displacement maps will make this real crazy. So here's the start of the bubbles. And I like 21. I think this one is very chaotic and looks nice. So there we go. And let's drag this off to the edge a bit. And that gives it some texture, which I think is pretty cool. And you can like move this around to get it to a spot that you like. And then if it's a little too gray, which it is for me, I would bump down the opacity so it blends just a little bit better. And let's click save and see what we got. That's pretty nifty. We can also do one last thing, which I'm not sure if we'll keep, but I want to see what it looks like. And that's come to this layer. Actually, we'll call this stripes. Let's just say we're done, and mask. So let's duplicate this stripes one. We're gonna go to that layer, we're gonna double click it, and we're gonna go to color overlay, normal, and let's select that yellow color we used. Click OK, and let's drag it to the left or right. I guess it doesn't really matter. Maybe I'll use the arrow keys. And just do something like that. So we get a little edge here, and you can come to the original stripes, select that, and while you have our duplicated stripes selected, our yellow stripes, click the clipping mask, and with the mask still selected, press Command I, and then drag that to the front. And then we can drag this kind of in the middle. And if we unlink the chain, we can select that mask and kind of adjust with our arrow keys to make this thinner. And get something like this. Let's save that and see what it looks like. So that looks pretty interesting. I think it's too much yellow overall, and I think maybe we go back. Let me press Command Z a few times and get this back on the edge. And we're gonna do the same thing. We're gonna unlink the chain and bring this over to the left. So it's like an outline of the stripe, and then we're gonna duplicate this, drag it over, and kind of do the same thing. So the stripes are outlined. Let's see what that looks like. It's pretty cool. It's a little more subtle there. I do think I would probably mess with this a little more, but let's say we're happy with that and we can go ahead and add it some other places. So what I like to do is go to our topmost layer, go and hold shift and select our bottommost layer, which is usually the color fill. Press Command J, Command E, Command A, Command C, Command V. And now we have that copied. Let's go to the sleeves. Let's paste it, Command T. I'm gonna drag it over like this so the middle is in line with where the logo is. And we could delete this stuff, unless you wanna add a logo on the sleeve. Save, come to the other side, paste, and do the same thing. Save, and then finally, just come into the side back layer, paste, and save. And let's see what we got. I'm gonna hide the stripes and stripe lighting. And I'm pretty happy with this. I think this is a cool looking kit. I do think maybe we adjust the sleeves a little bit. So we're gonna move this to the right a bit and save. So it's white here. That's exactly what I want. And do the same thing here. Just slightly more. There we go. Nice. I am happy with that. Let's see what the striping looks like. Maybe we might make it white again. Or we could just go ahead and make it yellow, I suppose. Sweet. So I am pretty happy with that. I think maybe we go no cuff or collar design. Oop. Let's make these cuffs black real fast though. And that's much better. And I think that is our Juventus kit. A nice, quick, simple kit. And it has texture. It has a cool design. It has some pop with the color. And it was done pretty quickly. Pretty simple with tools from TemplateFC. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. If you have any questions, reach out to us on social media or send us an email. Fill out our contact form on our website. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.